Hello everyone, this is Imam. Today I'm going to talk about another way to find to play your Windows games, classic Windows games, and the games which are not the latest and bleeding edge, just maybe released 10 years ago or 15 years ago or such like that, or 5 years ago even. You can play these games. Another way to run these games, Windows games on Linux. So normally there are at the moment in the Linux gaming world you can use Lutris, which is nice. I don't have any complaint about it. Of course it's not perfect. It has many limitations. I have found sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes it doesn't give you the clue what's going on if you're trying to run one older game that you have in your collection, or you just want to run it. And then you have run Windows game in a bottle. The bottles is another wine kind of front end which allows you to manage and run wine to support your Windows games on Linux. And then you have the last but not least. I never tried this one. Also, I'm not very extensively. I haven't tried out bottle, but it seems like it has got a good rating. And then you have the Heroic Games Launcher. This appears to be a very good solid platform for running Windows games on Linux, and it has very nice front end. And if you ask me, similarity wise, and then you have this Lutris, very similar the front end to the Heroic Game Launcher. Like if I launch here Lutris, and you can see the interface is quite similar. And also the settings wise, I would say Heroic Game Launcher is a little bit simpler and more user friendly in some way, and easy to manage, and then it's just a more streamlined interface. So I never used it, but it looks good, and what I have seen so far about this Heroic Game Launcher. So all these three platforms are good for managing a catalog of your Windows games on Linux, and also allowing you to run them whenever you need them. So now today I'm gonna talk about one least popular which was available on Linux, which is still available, Q4Wine, and it came out long time ago. It came out way before Lutris, Heroic Game Launcher, bottles. That's what I feel like, because I've been using it for so long, and it's still in development as looks like, and last version came out. What it is a very nice program which allows you to manage wine in a very user-friendly manner. So you don't have to go to the command line to manage and run your classic Windows games. And it's very good, and it's very customizable, and it's all in one interface where you can do so many things. Even I found Lutris can be sometimes a headache compared to Q4Wine. I'll show you what I mean. So anyway, today we're gonna explore how we can use Q4Wine to run your Windows games on Linux, and it's available on every big distro. You just have to install it, and then that's how it is. So but before you try out any running anything with Q4Wine, you have to make sure, unlike Lutris or bottles and bottle or Heroic Game Launcher, they will kind of install the dependencies for you, like Wine and all the extra dependencies, like a DXVK and things. Wine. But with the Q4Wine, it will do for you, but the Wine version you have to download it by yourself and then install it in any location you like, which is, I guess, many more manageable if you ask me. So anyway, let's start. Q4Wine. So here is that's how the interface looks like once you start up. I haven't found many kind of tutorial videos about this program, but it's very useful program, and is very user friendly. And if you ask me, it got a similar look to, there's another commercial wine software to that, so I'm not naming the software, but it got a similar look to it. So once you start the Q4Wine, you'll have this interface. But before you do anything on Q4Wine, you have to make sure you have got Wine installed in your system, and any other in Ubuntu. You just have to enter this command apt-get install Wine, and then if you want to do the FPS display or overlay, you can install Mango Hard as well, and then other stuff like game scope if you wanna do the super resolution stuff. So all this stuff are external to Q4Wine, like game scope and Mango Hard. So you will not be able to control Mango Hard or game scope from within the I guess you can do it, but I suppose there is no simple button. You just have to type in the command here inside the Q4Wine, or I'll show you. It's not that hard. You just have to launch Q4Wine using the Mango Hard command if you want to display the FPS or whatever. But install all these program dependencies. So these are the dependency program. Once is installed, you are ready to go. Let's say now I close this, and then I just wanna show you how I do it, because because I have got Mango Hard installed. If you want to configure Mango Hard, by the way, you can use G overlay software, which is another software you can install. G overlay, so it's not installed, looks like. So to configure the Mango Hard or FPS display. So the way I start Q4Wine, I just type it in Mango Hard and then follow it by Q4Wine, so that now anything I launch from Q4Wine, like any game or anything, it will have FPS display, FPS overlay, all the other metrics of your hardware, CPU, GPU performance as configured in the Mango Hard. So now I can minimize this, and then this it. So this is the interface, how it looks like, and you can see here on the left you have default. That means you have a default Wine installed in your system, so it's gonna use the default by at the beginning, and then but you can have multiple versions. So as I see, this is very user friendly compared to very organizable compared to Luitrace or bottles and Heroic Launcher, especially if you have different versions of Wine and all, they are configured differently, and they are not gonna conflict with one another by any chance, because you're gonna lay them out in that way. So the default is the one, and for every wine you configure it here, every wine version or every wine, you will have this default folder, system, auto start, and then import. Here in the system you will find wine CFG, which is for configuring your wine, and regedit for register editor. If you double click on each icon, it will run that program just like that. So regedit, very useful. And then Wattpad, Notepad, you can check out everything. Control panel, I just have to double click a game controller, as you can see, and I can go to the add and remove program and see what is installed there. Anyway, so you don't have to touch command line for this. I don't know why you can't close this one, looks like it's jammed in. So anyway, if I can't close anything, I can just go to the process. You can see a number of wine process running. You can just select wine server or anything related to that process, and then you just have to click here stop wine or stop the current process, and just have to stop wine. It will close everything here. Yes, so I just have to, let's say, select everything, shift control shift and click, and then stop wine. And you can see so Luitrace you won't able to do this like this. All the processes related to wine will be showed up here, and you can see specifically what the process name and PID, and refresh the list, and then wine is not running in the background now. So wine, if you in case if you don't know, wine is a software to run Windows programs on Linux. It's a Windows implementation, API implementation for Linux. As you can go to the wine website here, you can find out more about wine here. Yeah, so you need wine to run Windows games on Linux. So Q4Wine is a graphical interface to manage your wine and wine related programs. So here, okay, first of all, so this is the default one, and if you go to the wine version manager, and you can see at the moment I have two versions listed here. The default one is gonna use the system default one, which is installed through the package manager. And as you can see, we can check that by just running wine cfg in the or wine version in the command line. And this is the default one, comes with Ubuntu, but you will need a specific version of wine to be able to run all the classic games. Default one sometimes hit and miss for many instances. So but you need to make sure the default one is installed, because it will install all other related wine stuff which is required for running alternative version of wine as well. So here your default one, and I also added another one here, GE8, which is another version of wine, Glorious Agrol, Glorious Agrol, I don't know how to. So you can download Glorious Agrol from this. I found this from here. You can download Glorious Agrol. This is the one I found. So it's a different custom version of wine with added fixes for different games. So I found Glorious Agrol is a good wine version to be able to use. So I have added that in Q4Wine here. If I want to add another one, I'll show you. I can use add version here. Let's say I want to add so if I want to add another version of Glorious Agrol, I just have to go to the releases. So here you can see all the different versions released, Glorious Agrol wine version released in different time frame, and this is released in 2003, and this is February 2004. You can go to the asset and download the package, tar gz package. And once you download, you can extract it in any folder, and then if you can, you have to just then come back to the here wine version manager, and then in the binary you just have to specify the location for the where this is extracted, wine is extracted. So that's how you do it. You can download different version of wine, and there is another version of wine you can download. It's called released by Cron4ek. I found here also this site, GitHub site also, they releases frequently different wine versions. If I go to here, this one is, oh, this is quite old actually, so I have to go to this website maybe to enter. Yeah, so this is the actual website, wine builds. So here you get more recent versions. So you can go to the releases. Okay, I'm gonna show you how to add another. So this is gonna install wine latest 10 point, and I just have to download whether I want so there are different versions listed here on this website. So this was released in last week, and then you can see this is last month, and this is June 30. Let's say I want to add. So there are different versions, so you can search about these versions, but I prefer staging version, staging TKG, which is a very good solid version. So I picked that one, 64-bit here, not to download that. So this is a portable one version. I just have to, yeah, I just have to save it somewhere. So that's so it's being saved or downloaded in the download folder. So let's say I have added okay, downloaded here. I can just extract here, and so we're gonna add this wine version to our wine for Q4Wine. So the way we do it, so once we extracted that, we're gonna add a new one here. Let's call it here. So this is extracted here. Let's call it wine. Just copy the name maybe, then paste it here, and then here in the binary you just have to give the where the wine binary is located. So it's in the bin folder. Just copy the address from here and then paste it here, and then type it in wine. So which is this one. Where is it? Yeah, there. And then in the server side, again you have to type it in that one, then wine server, which is an executable, again in the same location here, wine server, you can see here, yeah, this one. And then in the loader, again I just have to say wine. So that's it. So I've added this particular version of wine, so I can add more and more by downloading different wine version, and just save it. And now if I go back to the again tools, wine version manager, you can see it's listed here now. Yeah, that's how we do it. And then still now if we want to use that particular wine version, we can create a different wine kind of environment. At the moment we have a default wine environment, and if you go to the prefixes, the default wine environment is using GE8 version of wine. So you can see here, so we can create a different another wine environment, and we can specify what kind of environment is that. So we can create a new one. Let's create new, let's call it again the same name as this one, and then we can specify is it a 32-bit version of wine or 64-bit environment. I would say for all games you have to choose 32-bit. And then in the wine settings, you just have to choose which version of wine you're gonna set for this particular wine environment. We're gonna use this one as we have from the tools wine version manager, and that's it. And then okay, and you can see it's added here now, and it's using that version of wine as we have added here. Now if we go to the programs, now you can see two different version of wine environments. So each one has its own system folder, auto start import. Now if we double click wine CFG, it's gonna create that environment and then run the wine settings application. As you can see, is doing all that. So that's how we do it. If we want to add a wine version, it's very straightforward, very easy. There's no confusion, and like so. And looks like this version also has anti-sync enabled. Anyway, we are not going into that details. Let's close this, all that. So as you can see, wine is this is, if you go to the about section, it's using wine version 10, like so, as we set up, and the default one is using GE8. If we go to the default one and then again do the wine CFG, and as you can see, the default one is using GE8, which is as we added here, GE8. So as you can see, it's very easy to run multiple instances, multiple wine environments at the same time. So it's more powerful, this software, in a way. So it allows you to run different versions of wine simultaneously, and also see and you can see here what is running and which folder it's using. And also, as you can see in the here, this version of wine is located in this particular folder. And if you open that, let's say I wanna edit the prefix, so don't delete, set up the fake prefix, configure one version, edit, and then I can go here, let's say browser, open prefix directory here. So this will open the C drive of that environment. So as you can see, the C drive of that environment. So if I installed a game in the C drive, I can find it here very easily. So let's say for the C drive for this environment, just right click, browser, open prefix directory. So this is the home folder, and for this one the C drive is located, and I can also specify the directory as well. So this is located in a different location. So you can see there is no mismatch. Other thing we can do, we can also open the application directory very easily. So again, it's in the C drive, wine CFG is in the C drive, or Wattpad AC in the C drive as well. Anyway, so it's very easy. Now once we have added the wine environment here, so now we can add a new icon, like either game icon or anything, into this environment, so that we can run it. But as we know, even in Windows, to be able to run games, you have to install many related support libraries on Windows, like a Visual C++, redistributable file, and DirectX files, or media files like OpenAL, PhysicsX, NVIDIA PhysicsX, and all that support libraries also need to be added in this particular any wine environment you have in here, just like in Windows. So also again, with Q4Wine we can do that very easily. I'm gonna show you how to do it. Let's say I want to run games on this version of on this environment, wine environment, which is using this version of wine, whatever. So I just have to go to the prefixes or setup. I have to go to the setup, and is using, so it's gonna do allow us to set up any kind of libraries or support files easily on this wine environment. We can choose the default one or whatever. So then we can go to the wine tricks, and then we can install or update. Double click on this one. So this is gonna update the wine tricks, which is useful for installing any kind of DirectX or PhysicsX, all these extra files needed to run games. And once you see it's double click, is downloaded here already, is complete 100%. So you just can close it, and then you can refresh, double click on this one, it will refresh the list. And then here you can find different categories of things you can install, whether it's a DLL is the like a different libraries, support libraries. Apps, you can install apps. You can see here in that particular wine environment, but we're not interested, like VLC. So it's gonna download VLC, Winamp, or whatever WinRAR into that wine environment. We are not interested, or 7-zip, but we are only interested in Dell. So for gaming, sorry, I'm gonna show you how useful Q4Wine is. For gaming, we have to make sure we want to install some basic support libraries for Windows gaming. So we need to install Direct3D X9. So this is the essential one. So double click on that. So it's gonna install that one, download. So as you can see, it's already downloaded. It's in the cache already because I did it before. And you can see the press enter to close. When you see that it means done, just enter it and close the window. So it's already installed. How to verify? You just have to go to the programs and go to the wine CFG of that environment. When you go to the libraries, and you can see those DirectX support libraries are installed, and set it to native. So it's gonna use the Windows version of that. So here in the about, I would like to set the enable environment audio extension in the wine, so that we get that audio support. And also for old games, we can set the Windows version to XP or Windows 7 for old 32-bit Windows games. So games which released between, so yeah. Again, for this wine environment, so if you go to the prefix, is we set it to Win32, so it's a 32-bit wine environment for running old games. Again, so if you come back to here, setup section, we have to install more things before we will be able to. So I'm just gonna show you the basic things you need to install to be able to run games, but you might need more or less other stuff as you need in Windows. So the first one is that 3D X9, and the next one is this one, Direct 30. Yeah, you can do that. Double click and enter, close. and then I'm gonna go to uh, VCRUN, which is Microsoft Visual C runtime library needed by many games. So you need to install different versions of it, 2003 version, and enter, because you see the press enter to close, and you can see it's gonna install these files needed by the game. So in 2005 one as well, yes, and then it's done. And the 2008 one, next. Except just like we do in Windows, we have to install these things. We are doing the same thing in Wine. 2010, I suppose 2010. After 2010, most games released maybe 64-bit version, not 32. So you can carry on until 2005 if you like, but these games released in later years, actually 64-bit version. Let's do 2012 as well. So actually you need a different Wine environment, 64-bit, not 32-bit, to be able to install those libraries and then be able to run 64-bit games. And also VC6, also used by many games, run 6. And yes, you can see enter the close. So if you go to the now Wine CFG, you should be able to see those libraries are in the library section, are installed. You can see there are different versions of it. Already set it up and install it in this from the setup. And other thing we need, also after that we need I guess, let me check, we need OpenAL. You can search it here, OpenAL. Many games need it. OpenAL, just double click, OpenAL is needed, means install it. And then so OpenAL is audio system. And then you also need what is it, let me check. You also need this one, iCodec, is used by some games, Indio codec, old games. So it's a audio video codec. Seems like it's failed for some reasons. Anyway, I will try that again. So you also need this one. This is a codec, I suppose. You can also used by some games like Age of Empire 3. You can see that it's a codec, MP3 or audio codec needed by. And then you need also this one, Live Filter 7, not this one. This version works in Wine. This version works beautifully. So just this is also an audio video codec library, and just don't create any start folder, create anything, and you can see all these different codecs will be added into the Wine support. Just like you do in Windows, you need it in Linux Wine. And then other one, we can try Indio codecs again. Let's see if it works this time. I suppose it's something wrong, so it's not working for some reasons, I suppose. Anyway, if it doesn't work, sometimes depending on Wine version. And then here what you have set here, let's see if we try with Windows 98. It allows us to install that one. So it says setup something not found. I'm not sure why. Anyway, I think that's all you need for most. We can set it to Windows 7 or XP or Windows 7, depends on how old the game is. And also Physics X, I suppose we set it to Windows 7 for Physics X. Like a Medal of Honor, it uses Physics X, NVIDIA Physics X, to do the Physics X stuff in game. So Gonna install physics X here, agree and continue, and then close. That's it, and you can see the enter to close and enter. And yeah, so these are the things. So once is done, you can start running games. Yeah, like I said, there are other things you can install to get different supports, but these are the most games. So what I have done already, most games will run, but there are specific games maybe need some different. So lastly, we have to install DXVK to be able to support DirectX through Vulkan. Just double click on that one, so it's installed. And also I think that's all for the all games. And also you can install VK Direct 3D as well. Of course it's the DirectX 12, Direct 3D 12, so it's needed for newer games, so not needed, but it's good to have that installed. And yeah, that's all. I think that's the basic stuff you need, at least minimum from here, to be able to run most games from DirectX version 1 to version 10, like so. And we can now go back to the Wine CFG and see all the things are, you can see DirectX 8, 9 all native. That means it's gonna get, yeah, performance is gonna be good. So now that we have Wine environment set up correctly, and let's try to run same games, see how it goes. So it's gonna be straightforward. If we want to add some icons, game icons here, we can add that. So before that we can just test out the game before even running, adding the icon here. It's gonna be very straightforward. So I have a game here, let's say Motor Racer 2. So let's say Motor Racer 2X. So this is a 32-bit game, as we have our environment is a 32-bit Windows environment, Wine environment. So it's gonna run 32-bit games. It's good to be separate about 32-bit or 64-bit games. Let's say if I have a 64-bit game like this one, a Spyro Reignited Trilogy, I can check that whether this game is 64-bit or 32-bit by opening a terminal here and then type it in file Spyro X, the executable file, type it in the name of the executable file, and it will tell me it's a 64-bit game. And you can see here 32 plus 64. For Motor Racer 2, of course, is a 32-bit game, old game, so I can do the same file Moto X. So it's a 32-bit game, and you can see that the PE32 is not 64-bit. So for a 64-bit game, you want to set up a Wine environment with 64-bit setup architecture, like so. For example, I can go to the create new prefix, and let's say name it 64, and in the architecture I can choose Wine 64, and the Wine settings I can choose the Wine version I want for this 64-bit Wine environment. Let's say okay. Let's okay, just ignore that because the folder was created before anyway. And that you can find that here, see, for 64-bit Wine environment here, and then you can use that environment to the run game, 64-bit game, or add the 64-bit icons here. As we're gonna go through that, you're gonna see it how it does work. And then we have here the 32-bit Wine environment. You can run, browse, console, can do many things here. Anyway, for the 64-bit environment, you also have to set up the support libraries as we did with the 32-bit. All the support libraries needed to be added because it's still empty. It's nothing in there except the vanilla Wine environment. As you'll see here, no libraries here. Yeah. So let's try to run a Motor Racer 2. So what are you gonna do? We wanna just test it out. Then we can, before even adding the icon, we can go run browse, and then here we can program. You can click on that to browse the location of the X file. I can just simply drag it here so that it selects here right away. Open, and then in the del override, we don't have to do anything in the advanced. Make sure you tick this box, run with output, so that we gonna run Wine in a console so that we can see the debug output of the running, so that if there is anything go not right, we can see what's happening. So as you can see now, if I click, it's running Wine in a console, separate console, and it says program incorrectly installed, because for this game we haven't installed this game in this one particular environment, so it doesn't have the registry settings saved into the Wine environment like would have in a new Windows installation if we are bringing the game from other Windows installation. So that's why it's not running. But in this console we can see if there is anything wrong with the Wine while trying to run this game. So that's the idea, to have this console, and then we can close it now because we already tried to run. Let's add the registry settings so that we can able to run. So I have downloaded copy the registry settings from the internet, and this is the settings rec files. I saved in a vanilla text file called it rec setup rec, and for Motor Racer 2. Now we can add that rec settings by going to the rec edit and then import the registry file, and you can see it's Motor Racer 2, and choose the setup rec and OK. So it successfully added the registry into our Wine environment. Now we can add the icon or try to run it again. Let's add the icon, we don't have to try running it again. Let's give the program, drag it here and OK, and then give the icon name Motor Racer 2 as we like. And for the icon we can choose the X file and choose the icon we want from the X file, replace. Okay, and then we wanna run it in a virtual window if we like, but normally if we don't set it, it's gonna be running in the full screen, which will interrupt this recording, what I'm recording to do this video. So let's run it in a virtual window. Let's set it to my screen size, and del override we don't have to do, we have to tick this one, remember, so that we see the console output. And okay, that's all. Here you can do other stuff like pre-run, post-run stuff like so, but not needed normally. And as you can see, the icon is added now. If we double click the icon, it will run the game, or we can go to the option if we like, or we can browse the application directory. It will bring up where the X file is located, you can see, or we can open the C drive, open prefix directory for that icon, C drive. So if you want to add anything in the system folder to be able to run this game. Anyway, double click, let's see, and then it's running the game in the window. As you can see, it's running beautifully. And we can minimize this, and it's showing the debug output of the window here, separate console, and we should be able to. So that's how we add icon. So yeah. Let's say you have a game that you want to install from the CD. I have a separate video how to do it using the GMO virtual CD drive and how to use Wine to install. But the process would be similar in this Q4Wine. In that video I showed how to use Lutris, but the process is exactly the same. Use the GMO to install the game using the setup file, and add the icon here in the Q4Wine. So if you want to install the game, you should install a game from the CD or disk. You should watch my other video, and then follow the same procedure in Q4Wine as I did in the Lutris. So I can close this debug window now, and you can see in the logging it just showing anyway. So now that we have that icon added, as you can see, now we can add more icons, icons. That's how you do it. You can zoom in to the icon, you can zoom out, you can show the details mode, or you can sort the icons like that. It's very easy. You can go to rename the icon card, copy to the clipboard, direct application path like this. Anyway, we can also open a console into the application directory. So if we have to do, let's say if we want to open a Windows console, let's say we have to run wine console. So now we are into that. No, I think so if we have to, I think this is another thing. If we want to do more, open console in application directory, so what will happen, it will open into that game folder so that we can run the game from here as well using Windows way. Motto, if you wanna, like, so if you wanna do the Windows command line style launching the game, let's close that. Now I'm gonna show you, okay, this is Hitman. Let's add the icon for this one as well. New icon and program here, browse Hitman Absolution, just drag it there. I can call it Hitman. And I can select that from here, select it, developer right. In the here you can set that. In some games you can fiddle with priority, but it's not needed most of the time with the latest version of Wine. And that's it. And here I have the icon. I want to run it, I just have to double click. But if I wanna, let's set it to set a virtual desktop so that it doesn't mess up my recording, YouTube recording. So it says operating system version. Okay, it's needed, so we can easily switch the operating system from Wine CG. So because now I set it to Windows XP, Windows 7. Let's see if it works. And you see it's kind of crashing with this particular Wine version. Maybe it needed something which is not installed, or something is missing. So DirectX 1143 seems like this is missing. So it's a little bit newer game, so it needs more support libraries, like I said before. It needs this one maybe, I guess. And close. And yeah, so like I figured out, so you can see is running. Okay, good, just set it up. So for newer game, you can see the FPS hard is working, is showing the metrics display correctly. That's it. And again, for 64-bit game, here we can go to the 64-bit environment and add the icon like so, and it will should work. Like for the Spyro and things like that. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Until next time, you should play around with this. If the program is crashed or not running, you can come back to the process and kill it from here, so you don't have to fiddle with anything. So that's how you do Q4Wine for running Windows games on Linux. Please give this video a thumbs up, and until next time, and subscribe to my channel. See you, bye bye.